All right, welcome everybody to week 2 of the Brown Balls podcast. I am Tapas, and I got my best friend Kenil right here. We are ready to go for week 2. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today, a lot of new developments happening in the NFL, NBA world, a lot of controversies happening. So we are definitely going to be covering that today. I am definitely rocking my Buccaneers jersey, even though I am not a Buccaneers fan at all. I am actually a Tom Brady fan, and it's the only jerseys I have. So that's why I'm wearing a football jersey, because I do have to wear these now. Even though Tom Brady retired, I got to represent the GOAT, right? So, Kenil, what are you up to?
What up, man? Nothing. Just chilling, relaxing. I see you rocking that Brady jersey. I remember I got you a Brady jersey too. I don't know what color
You
was
did.
it, but I got you one of them.
Yep.
That's the year you guys actually won, Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was a year. It was a good.
I'm rocking
It's a good lucky jersey.
Yeah. I'm rocking my love. Kobe.
Yes.
The last game I went to. Last ever game Kobe ever played. I was lucky enough to be there, witnessing that, 60-point game, his sending off game, that was one of my top games I ever been to, man. So I'm rocking my Kobe jersey. I'm still in the Kobe mood right now, man. Last week was Kobe Day. Last week it was all Kobe, man. So yeah, it's all about Kobe here,
Yeah, what I remember is that I remember you got the tickets for that, and I remember you actually thought, and as well as I got our different Vishal, thought about selling the tickets. You're like, oh, I don't know if I want to go, and I remember you were like, no, it's his last game. I might as well just go and make it worth it. And I remember it turned out to be like one of the most legendary games of all time, like 60 points going out. When Shaq challenged him for 50, he's like, nah, forget it. He's like, no, and he dropped 60 instead. And to come back from behind and win the game, that was pretty crazy. So that's the most Kobe way.
People don't remember, man. We were down the whole entire game.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, in the fourth quarter, about like 3 minutes left, we were still down by 10. Kobe only had 48 points about 3.5 minutes ago. People don't realize that 48 points only with 3.5 minutes to go in the fourth.
Yeah, and we were still down. Yeah,
and we were still down by 8 or 10, and Kobe scored like crazy and just went off. And so, and I remember that prior to that, like a month before Kobe, when he was on NBA, inside the NBA, Shaq was like, Kobe, you got to go for 50. Yep. And Kobe, in typical Kobe, doesn't want to show his true face. He kind of played it out by like, nah, I can't do that anymore. I'm too old. I can't do 50 anymore, right? But little we knew, he was going to go with a bang, a 60 point right there, man.
He still had the tank.
But you know what's crazy though, man? That same day that Kobe scored 60 points, the Warriors were going for the record, the Chicago Bulls record at that time too.
That's right.
It was the same timing. And guess who got the most views? Kobe's game.
Yeah, of course.
Over a Chicago Bulls record is still hard to get. That Golden State record they did, that was still hard to do. But people tuned into Kobe's, that was insane, man. Yeah. I didn't think that would happen, man. That's awesome though.
I remember that season we didn't do too well as the Lakers, and I didn't watch very many Lakers games because it felt like a goodbye tour for Kobe, which of course I was going to miss him. But like I remember watching, that's the only game that I think I watched fully the entire game of the Lakers, because I was like, it's his last game, might as well make it worth it. I just sat there on the couch, watched it, and it was great to see, because I was just like, oh my God, we're down. How are we going to lose in Kobe's final game? Blah, blah, blah. And then you just see the turnaround, and Kobe's just pushing through. Absolutely legendary way to go out. You expect nothing less from the Mamba, but that was pretty amazing.
It was great. I'm telling you, the before we start with our weekly topics, the two best send off games that I've seen is Kobe's and Derek Jeter's, the last games.
Oh yeah.
For Jeter, they brought other people in to kind of celebrate
that was
him.
Pretty sick.
But he actually hit a single RBI to win the game. With his last at bat. He was the last person with 2 outs, bottom of the 9th inning. At the Yankee Stadium, he comes up, and I think he gets a single and the score, and they win the game. And Yankees actually had a celebration for Jeter's send-off that day, because, but they couldn't do that because Jeter celebrated his own way, by doing a single walk-off. That's perfect.
So crazy.
So those are the two games I remember, like, amazing, so.
Yeah. It's crazy, freaking awesome. Freaking awesome. All right, let's get into some of the news, man. So
let's do it.
2 major signings in the NFL, which was, I think one was kind of surprising, one wasn't. First one was Brandon Aiyuk getting a 4-year, $120 million extension. And then CeeDee Lamb signing with the Cowboys again for a 4-year, $136 million extension. So my question to you is, which one of these 2 do you think is the most impactful and I guess the most needed for that team? Was it Lamb or was it Aiyuk coming back?
I mean, I gotta say Lamb. just because Lamb is a clear-cut number one receiver. He's not like dominating like Chase, what's his name from Cincinnati, Demar Chase, or the guy, or the receiver from Minnesota. He's not, dominating like that. But for Cowboys, he's the number one option. So I think he's going to be more impactful. But the most needed was Aiyuk, if that makes any sense.
With all the weapons that 49ers have?
Well, see, you got to realize this. Yeah, we got to remember this. Actually, not realize. Remember this. With 49ers, with all the weapons they have, right? McCaffrey has been lucky because he hasn't been injured. If you look at Carolina, he was up and down, missing 3 to 4 games here and there. Debo, even you saw last year, he's always injured. Yeah. Always misses 3-4 games here. So once you guys, when you take out Aiyuk, that puts pressure on, McCaffrey to, actually be a receiver / a running back. Debo to actually be a consistent, because you got to remember, Debo's a slot, he's not a long range, guy who can catch the ball. He's more of a slot receiver, or the way Shanahan's offense is, he kind of does a running receiving, going from the back and running, right? So he's not like a flat out receiver, but Aiyuk, straight up a wide receiver, right? What do you think, man?
Yeah, he could. I think Aiyuk is definitely like a number one receiver in any other team besides the Niners, because the Niners are so loaded that he is like the third or fourth option really for them. Otherwise, if he was in any other team, like the Rams, Washington Commanders, or whoever else, he'd be number one for sure, right? Like, so I think he definitely has the value. I think the Niners made a good deal, made a good choice here, because they know they have Brock Purdy. He's not going to get a crazy million dollar contract just yet, so they can still invest in keeping the same core group around him for at least a couple more years until they have to sign him, or they find somebody else that's better, and if he continues to improve. But I think with this, the CeeDee Lamb one is kind of interesting, because it's kind of like the Cowboys are signaling that they don't really want to pay Dak Prescott the money. Do you and that's what because they're signing their defense, or Michael Parsons got a deal with it last year, I believe it was. Now you got to see Lamb coming back for $436 million, which is crazy for a receiver now, and Prescott's still waiting. Well, he's still franchise tag, right? So he's still what do I do? Are we gonna ever sign this thing? Does Jerry Jones not believe in me at all? He also had a press conference yesterday, and he's just
heard that.
I'm not worried about that. I'm just gonna do what I need to do. It's just interesting how things are working now. But he's just kind of you can tell he's very disgruntled. And I personally have always kind of felt that Dak Prescott was a little overrated, but he does put up the numbers, so I can't argue against the numbers there. So I thought that was an interesting move, because it kind of is giving us indication that the Cowboys may not be fully into Prescott for a long run.
It's funny you brought that up, because yesterday Jerry Jones made that comment about it. It was it was towards Prescott, but you can take it however. But some reporter asked a question saying, about Jack's, QB ability, or something about what you have in him, and he's like, look, we know what we have. There's no surprises by him anymore. We know what he can do. We know what his abilities are. And so that's like a punchline saying
it's a shot.
It is
a shot at him.
It is in a way where, he's more talking about the playoffs. They've been disappointed, man, in the playoffs, man. Yes. Last year they had one of the good records, and they couldn't beat the Packers. And Packers they had a rookie QB.
Young team.
He wasn't a rookie, but it was like a third-year Jordan Love player. Team. But and you lose to them, and the way you lose in the first quarter, because in the first quarter you got to remember Dak Prescott threw, I think, 2 or 3 interceptions or something, and
he had a terrible game.
It went for a pick 6 all the way. So man, it's they were never in it. So look, I don't know if you know, but Cowboys are my second favorite team. My brother always laughs at that, but I love Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? But look, I'm telling you, dude, I love Cowboys, and I always want them to do good. I feel bad because Jerry Jones reminds me of myself a little. If I was an owner, if I was lucky enough to be an owner, he's very hands-on. He's a GM of that team. They haven't asked him that question. Do you want to be want to hire someone who's capable of running the team as a general manager? He's like, no one's out there.
Right.
What we need, and he's basically saying that I can do a better job than anybody. Exactly. And that's the answer I would give too, because as an owner, I'll be hands on and picking my players, you know. So I'm always rooting for Jerry Jones, man. He's very hands on. He's so passionate. Like he just wants to win that Super Bowl, you know. He won it in '90s, you know, back to back with Troy Aikman, you know. But
Yeah.
he still wants to win it with this core group.
Is it passion or is it arrogance? Because Jerry Jones comes off as a person that's like, when you think of the Cowboys, you think of Jerry Jones. You don't think of any specific player. You don't think of any specific kind of like legacy. You just think of Jerry Jones is the owner of the Cowboys, and he's going to be the main guy. He wants to be the main guy to do everything. I'm sure there's a handful of GMs out there that can do a better job. I mean, heck, you even put, if he was willing to give Bill Belichick, like, hey, take full control, Belichick can put up a better team than what Jerry Jones has assembled, and probably will take him to the playoffs and beyond, and instill some kind of confidence in Prescott. Because I mean, Jerry Jones has not. He does a good job marketing his team. They are always fun to watch. People like me who watch to see them fail, I will still watch the Cowboys game because I'm just like, they suck. Like, and I get enjoyment out of that because I enjoy seeing Jerry Jones not get what he wants. But at the same time, you're not really setting a team up for a long term goal of becoming champion if you're just going to make it about yourself every time and be the center of attention. That's what he comes off as to me, and he's himself before the team. So I don't think it's a good recipe in the long run.
I gotta take you back. Did you just say that Bill Belichick can build a better team? Did you see what he did after Brady left? Did you see what he did after Brady left? He was the GM, by the way. He was like president / GM and coach, you know, for Patriots. Yeah. After Brady left, please tell me what kind of team did Mr. Bill Belichick put up in Patriots? Nothing.
Team that missed the playoffs. Nothing for sure. But he didn't win a championship. Neither Jerry Jones.
It's not about winning a championship.
And who had the better players going into it, right? Like Micah Parsons, you got Dak Prescott, you got CeeDee Lamb. You have all these weapons. After Brady left, he had nobody, and you saw the impact that Brady had working with less, right? Whereas Prescott, he cannot work with less.
But you gotta understand,
he needs more.
Is that Jerry? No. I know. Is that Jerry Jones' problem or is that a Prescott problem?
No, it's a Jerry Jones problem because you're keeping him there. You're signing to him $50 million deals as a franchise tag, and you're keeping him in the long run when you should just be moving on to somebody else. But he's just like, no, I'm Jerry Jones. I'm going to make this work.
Hold on. Let me ask you. Who's out there? Okay, this year, if they didn't, if they decided to like let go of Prescott, who's out there that's a better player than Prescott? Please tell me. Answer that question. Who's out there that's better? Who you can bring in that can make you a championship team right away?
You're going to hate my answer. But
don't say it.
I'll tell you this. What? I want to say Kirk Cousins could have done a better job because the one thing the Cowboys lack, right? The one thing Cowboys lack, and that's what gets them in trouble again, especially against the Packers, was quarterback play, right? You need a quarterback who will not make mistakes, who will not turn over the ball, and Cousins does not do that. However, the best thing about the Cowboys is that they have an amazing defense. They have the best defensive line, right?
Yeah,
for sure. And that can win them games, and it has for many times. But where they always slip up is when Dak Prescott goes rogue. I want to be the hero. Screw Jerry Jones. I'm going to make this play, kind of like Russell Wilson started doing towards the end of his career in Seattle, and then they get in trouble. But if you had specifically a good quarterback that's safe, that will make the throw that needs to be done, and go for, and not throw the game away, I would take Kirk Cousins. I know it might be a hot take, but again, that's what the Cowboys need. You don't need a dynamic quarterback like Prescott is. You need somebody who's more safe.
What did Cousins do?
Purdy went to the Super Bowl.
What did Cousins do with Justin Jefferson? The best receiver. I feel the best receiver out there.
Everyone, and he had a decent record, didn't he?
Justin
Jefferson, he got his best yards with Kirk Cousins.
But
his best seasons with Kirk Cousins.
I know, but what I'm trying to say is that team, right? If you would have gave that to a Brady or Justin Jefferson, that's winning a Super Bowl, right? I mean, I'm just saying, if you put Justin Jefferson in with Cowboys,
I'm talking about equivalent. You can't put Brady in the same thing as Kirk
fine.
Cousins,
okay,
right?
fine.
I'm about equivalent. I think Kirk Cousins is equivalent to Dak Prescott, but he's a little bit better option because he's safer.
Yeah, different type of QBs. Kirk Cousins is more of a like guy behind the pocket, kind of throw it.
Yes.
Prescott is more like, hey, if nothing there, he can run. He's like a Donovan McNabb, he's more of a Donovan
and that's great. That's what works for Eagles. The Eagles need that. That's what works for other teams, right? They need they need that kind of quarterback. But the way that the Cowboys play and the way that they depend on the quarterback to not throw the ball away and give their defense a chance to keep the game close, you can't. It's not working. And Jerry Jones should have been like, you know what? I'm moving on from this. I need to find somebody else better. Or who was that? Who was their backup that came in and lit it up, right?
Cooper, I know. Cooper, oh my gosh, I forgot to say, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush.
Yeah. Just okay, give him a shot. I mean, hey, if the Niners can make it to the Bowl with Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, you can try Cooper Rush, right? I'm not saying he's down to that level, but I'm just saying like they have the option, and they could have saved $50-60 million and gotten a better running back after Ezekiel Elliott just completely after his rookie season just went MIA.
AWOL, dude.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that's why for me that the CeeDee Lamb one was very interesting because they don't want to sign Prescott potentially, but then now they're in the same thing. Okay, now like you said, now where do they go? Who do they have to look for?
I think the writing's on the wall, man. If Prescott doesn't perform in playoffs, I'm not talking about the season. Prescott's going to put up the numbers in the season. Yeah. He's a good QB. He puts up yardage and touchdowns. We know that. But I think if he doesn't produce in the playoffs, I think he's gone. And I agree with you. They do have two good backups. They have Cooper Rush, and they have the 49ers number 2 overall pick from a few years ago. And so I think that's what's going to happen, to be honest. They're going to move on from...
Yeah, I was surprised by Jerry Jones taking that shot at him. Like, we know what we have, which is like, okay, he'll put up points, he'll put up a bunch of touchdowns, but we might just choke in the playoff, which he has done 2 straight seasons. I mean, he beat out Brady, and then the next game in the playoffs, he completely just laid an egg. Prescott did. So
especially last year, man. Like, come on, against the Packers,
I know.
you had no business losing that game.
Yeah,
at home,
I know.
A wild card game, you have no business losing that game, man.
Especially a younger team, a little bit more inexperienced. I mean, besides Matt LaFleur, the receivers are, just barely.
Nobody was in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Aaron Jones, the only guy who had a playoff experience. Maybe that's it. Nobody else had playoff experience like that.
Completely just. Oof. That was.
I mean, like I said, Cowboys are my second favorite team, man. They're like my Lakers. The two things Lakers and Cowboys have in common, man. Every year is a Super Bowl or bust, or a championship or bust for the Lakers. That's what I like about them, And to go back to your point, I do like a hands-on owner is because he knows he wants to win a championship. He cares about the team. It's kind of like a Steve Ballmer effect, They want to win a championship, But Steve Ballmer actually spends money and hires people who can do the job, better than him, And so he hires
smarter people than him.
Yeah, expert at their position, basically.
Exactly.
And Jerry Jones does the opposite, where he hires his son-in-law, his nephew or something to run the team.
He wants to be the one, right?
Well, he wants to hear yes man, right?
Yeah, he wants yes man, but he also wants to be the one that when they win, he's like, oh, look, I'm the one that made this.
Yeah.
He didn't want to give that credit away to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
That's why him and Jimmy Johnson had gotten into such a feud.
Oh, yeah.
That could have been a crazy dynasty if they had to stay, but because he wanted to be the guy. They ultimately failed. All right, so we have 2 major holdouts, people that have not signed, which is Trent Williams of the 49ers, the major part of their defense, and Demar Chase of the Bengals, who is reporting to camp, right? He's playing, he's going through the motions. Hopefully this will
Kenil time, bro. Kenil time.
Yeah, exactly. Of those 2, who do you think will have the more impact? Do you think Williams having to hold out or Chase?
Honestly, Trent Williams is good. He's a very good player, but I mean, you can replace. He's not an Aaron Donald, But but I feel like one of your star receiver holding out, that's huge.
Yeah,
huge. That's your weapon right there. I mean, what can you do, man? That's your guy that you're gonna throw the ball to. That's the guy that takes pressure off the other players away, like running backs and the second or third receivers takes the pressure away, and they can be open, right? He's a flat out, bad man right there when he plays, man. He showed it in Super Bowl, right? So it's like, man, I think that's going to be good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think without Williams, I think the 49ers still figure out a good defense. They'll be okay. They may not be as dominant as last year, but I think they'll still be pretty good. I think Joe Burrow struggles a lot without Demar Chase if he's not signed because he won't have him throw to that's dependable. Which again, Demar Chase was, I believe, was his college teammate as well. So they have a
Mm-hmm.
history way back when. They also were
Oh yeah,
roommates when they first came into the NFL. So like they are very, very close, and you don't want to take away that kind of target away from a potentially a great quarterback in Joe Burrow, who's still developing, who's still learning the ropes a lot. Yeah, I think him not potential signing. I mean, he's there. He's trying to be a good teammate and be there for a team, and he's showing up to practice and all that kind of stuff. Great, but if they end up letting him walk, that will be a huge, huge miss on Cincinnati's part.
they won't, man. They won't let him walk. I mean, this is gonna in the end, like what Cowboys did, right? CeeDee wanted, 30 million, right? And they end up giving him that 30 million, right? Something like that. So it's gonna happen. I think he'll be signed hopefully by this week, before first game. Like the coach said, right? He'll be there week 1, right? And so, I mean, he'll be there. They're not gonna let him walk. He's too good of a player, and Burrow is gonna go crazy if he walks.
Yeah.
That's his guy, man. So there's no way.
Exactly.
There's no way.
I agree. I think they definitely need to make sure they do sign Chase, and he's worth it. I don't even think he's one of those players that like, oh yeah, is he really that good? I really do think he's worth it. He's an outstanding person. I know he doesn't have any kind of off field drama. He doesn't talk crap. He just does his job, and he's just happy to be there and also play with his friends. So like I think it's just a good dynamic that you just want to surround your team around.
They work well together, man.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with Cincinnati, who hasn't had the best history in terms of playoff runs and season records. Now they actually do have a legitimate good team that can be good for a very long time. Why screw it up now? You're just starting, right?
Last time they had was Carson Palmer, T.J. Houshmandzadeh, and
my God,
Chad Ochocinco, man. Come on, those days. You can't forget those days.
Bad man.
Dude, you know what, man? He was the only USC quarterback that actually did fairly okay in the NFL.
Mark Sanchez was the GOAT. Come on, butt fumble.
Right. Butt fumble, come on, man. Real talk, though. Real talk. Not joking talk there.
According to last week, Caleb Williams might be the best USC quarterback of all time.
Yes,
right?
we'll
see if he can dethrone Carson Palmer.
He will. It's not that hard. Trust me. What Carson did, it's not that hard. He was healthy for only 4 years, and that's it. And then he got injured.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so more NFL news. So we have some betting odds for the likely to repeat, likely to win the championship, Super Bowl, who is likely to have the highest passing yards and the highest rushing yards. So they do have the highest odds going towards Chiefs having a 3-peat first time ever, which would be crazy. Passing yards, they have Mahomes winning it again. And then rushing, they have McCaffrey. So of those three, what do you think is the most likely and like absurd and or absurd or least likely?
Most likely,
yeah.
Okay, so let me start with this. Least likely is Holmes do passing yards.
Okay. I
feel like there's other QBs out there that have more weapons than Holmes does, and I don't think Holmes gonna be throwing too much either. And I think it's gonna be equal balance for KC. It's gonna be running, throwing, and something like that. Like I said last week, man, Chiefs are not trying to win that division. If they could, if they can, they will.
They're gonna coast.
They're not just gonna give it away. They're gonna coast through it, right? Yeah. They're gonna make sure they're healthy. Like I said, Mahomes gonna go into any stadium. He knows he can win that game, So they just got to get into the playoffs. And, for them, they already won championship back-to-back years. So there's going to be some type of, not caring, not be motivated to, being up for that Sunday game against, like, I don't know, Carolina Panthers. I mean, they don't play Carolina. I'm just saying, like, a team, like, who's not good enough, So, like, you can see them losing and Mahomes not playing too well. And so I don't think Mahomes will be, leading the passing for sure. But the one thing I do feel is that more than last year, if you would have told me this question last year that KC has the best, one of the odds to win the Super Bowl, I would have been like, I don't know if they can,
Right.
Because there are other hungrier teams out there. But the reason why I feel that KC will be more hungry once the playoff starts, you just nailed it, right? No team has won back to back 3-peat, right? No team in NFL history has ever won 3 straight Super Bowls. Not even the Patriots. The Tom Brady Patriots have not done that. This is one of if Mahomes can do this, Mahomes will
No, stop right there. Please
we'll
do
give.
not, do not, do not.
We'll
This is the
give.
LeBron James and Jordan cut. Please do not stop. So I
We'll
will stop
give.
right
I'm
there.
telling you. No, no,
Oh
no, 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 no.
God,
Hear
here
me
we
out.
go. Here we
We'll
go. Oh
give
my God.
Brady run for his money as a GOAT. I'm telling you right now.
He will not. He will
He
not.
will. If Mahomes could win this three-peat,
Nope.
mark my word,
Mm-mm.
he'll be slightly ahead of Brady. I'm telling you. A lot. I'm telling you.
This is the issue with LeBron fans, right? You have Mr. 4 championships against 6 dominant championships, and then you all of a sudden you go, oh yeah, Mahomes will have 4
Dude.
versus 7. Brady threw 7. Brady had 2 Hall
He's
of Fame
gonna be there.
careers.
If Mahomes wins this one, he's gonna be what, 4th, right? Or 3rd? What is it?
Kelsey's probably gone after this year. After his brother retired, this is probably Kelsey's last year.
They don't need Mahomes. It's like Tom Brady effect.
Kelsey.
No, it's a Tom Brady. They will get another player. Dude, they will.
No,
Tapas, I'm telling you. Listen to me. Mahomes is a bad man. I'm telling you.
He is the best quarterback by far. Please stop again. Stop
Mahomes,
right there with
tell me this.
Conversation.
If Mahomes wins it this year and three-peats, that'll be 4 championships in 5 years. Or no, 6 years. Sorry, 6 years. 4 championships in 6 years, right? Brady had that kind of ways. He won I think Brady won 4 and 6 as well too. I think he won every other year or something, 4 and 7 or something. He won every other year. That's what. Or sometimes he won back to back, and then he won every other year.
Repeat,
Whoever did that besides Brady, Mahomes. If Mahomes, tell me this: if Mahomes wins 4th Super Bowl, you telling me he's 3 away to tying the GOAT, Tom Brady, and he's 4 away passing the GOAT, Tom Brady, to be the new GOAT.
He's not going to win 4.
I feel there's just hate there, right there, man.
It's not hate. It's not hate. Look, the way Brady operated, right, and the money he demanded was very less, and the team that Belichick could form around him, that's a once in a lifetime thing. I don't think Andy Reid, and again, Andy Reid is probably the best coach in football right now. I'm not, and no shot at him by far, but I don't think Andy Reid is building this team for the future. They're a win now team, whereas Belichick was built for the future as well. Let's make sure we're good enough that let's get rid of people that can be expensive in the long run. Get rid of Jimmy G, get rid of all these people, right? I mean, he wanted to keep Jimmy G, but he kind of ended up getting rid of him. Cast all those people. Let's just get rid of them. Save the cap. And let's build for the future. I don't believe that Andy Reid is there yet, because I think Kelsey's on his last leg, honestly. And I don't really lasting too long as a coach either. He might just be going into front office or something like that too. So I personally do think that the Chiefs have a high chance of thrpe. Yes, I do. I do agree with that. However, again, I will just stop right there when it's like the GOAT conversation. Please just stop. I mean, I've gone through elementary school. 4 does not equal 7. So until we get to 7, we just don't talk. And that's my thing with LeBron too. And we're not gonna get into it right now. And I know you and I go back so much about this, but 4 does not equal 6. 4 does not equal 5. I don't care if you took math in India or here, it's not the same thing. So, that's just how I look at it. I'm very much straightforward like that. But I think the one that's least likely to happen is and the passing yards. I agree with you there too. I don't think he has the strongest year this year in terms of overall play. I think they're going to coast. I think they're going to be up and down. He's already walked into a lot of controversies. I know we won't get political in this podcast, but he's having a lot of political issues with not only his kicker, but also now his wife on social media and the whole stuff. So there's just so many distractions that he has to figure out, because I feel like Mahomes' family in general has a lot of distractions. His wife kind of goes AWOL. His brother does random sexual, essays people. His dad was arrested for DUI before the Super Bowl game. Just a lot of stuff. So I think he's figuring everything out, and he's probably going to be distracted by that initially. So I don't think he'll have the best start to the season. Like you said, though, as the season wraps up, maybe they'll start catching fire. They'll start getting a few good games in. Everyone gets healthy again, and then they start pushing for three-peat, and then they potentially will do that. But I don't think that he is going to be the passing leader. With that said, who do you think will be? So the second favorite odds of passing leader is a tie between Dak Prescott and CJ Stroud. Do you think any one of those guys potentially does it, or do you think somebody else?
I don't think Jack does it either. I think CJ will. CJ
Stroud? Okay.
I think he'll continue what he did last year in the playoffs and continue it this year as well.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, another person that I do feel that, could do it, or, depending on how the season goes and how it doesn't go, I do feel you can't take Jared Goff. No, I'm just saying, because the thing is,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
You laugh.
I laughed because I remember how much shit you talked about Jared Goff when he was at Rams. You hated the guy. You thought what, Brad Stafford, was it Sanford? Whatever his name was, the guy before him. Sam Bradford. You thought he was better than him. I remember how much crap Jared Goff sucks. He's the worst player. And then obviously you guys got Stafford, but I remember how much crap talking about him. Now you're saying he might potentially lead the league in passing.
He has weapons.
Great irony.
He has weapons. He has like really good weapons.
Yes.
And they're saying that the receiver that didn't do good last year was kind of injured. Jameson Williamson or something. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Not St. Brown, but he did really good last year. But Jameson Williams, I think, he's supposed to have a bounce back year. I think he was like a first or second round pick a few years ago, and that was actually a pick from the Rams because we traded a lot of picks away, So he's supposed to do good. But I do feel people are don't count out Jared Goff in Detroit, because I think he will, even with the Rams, he actually threw up numbers with Cooper Kupp and everybody that was there, So
100%.
That's the one guy I feel that always throws crazy amount of yardage and touchdowns. So that's the one guy I will keep eye on.
Yeah, I'm surprised that now the odds for Tua aren't very high, because I feel like Tua has the best receiving core potentially. The wideouts,
why though?
But why?
Because Tua only plays good at home. He doesn't play good away. He hates playing dome. And he loves playing in Miami only. If you look at Tua's record, if you look at Tua's record away, he doesn't do good at all. Man.
That's true.
Unless you play a team like Washington Commanders, then you'll do good.
If you play Green Bay in middle of December, he's throwing
in the snow,
10 picks.
He won't. There you go. Another thing. let me take that back. Not playing good in the indoors, not playing good with the different weather. The climate wise. He doesn't do good. That's the thing. So that's
the reason why Tom Brady went out to Tampa. Like, do I want to throw in December in New England, or do I want to throw in Tampa? Like that is a no-brainer. I'm gonna go out there. So.
Exactly.
I agree with you. I think of the other two, I think CJ Stroud has the highest chance, because he did just add another elite receiver.
Oh my gosh!
To the core. So I think he might lead the league, and Houston has a really good program there. So I think they might legitimately be pretty good. I don't think running back Prescott. Yeah. And again, I think we just talked about it in the previous segment, but I think the Cowboys have too much drama again, just like the Chiefs off field, that they need to figure out, and I think they'll probably struggle because of that. And I think Eagles are by far the best team in that division, so they're not going to be winning those games anyway. So,
did you hear Mahomes today? I saw it on Twitter, or you want to call it X, doesn't matter. But I saw Mahomes said that Taylor Swift is drawing up some plays. You're taking the season as a joke, man. He literally said that Taylor Swift is drawing up some plays, and she wants us to execute it.
Yes. Oh my god.
I hate when wives and girlfriends get too involved with the team, man. Like, you gotta stay out of that. You don't like. I don't know. I don't like. I don't know how you feel about it. You can't be mixing that up.
No, and again, we're not being political here, but again, when Taylor Swift, who is traditionally a one-way leaning person to the politics, when she comes out with her statement in a couple of weeks, which she has already said she's going to be making a statement about it, who she's endorsing, that'll also cause some drama as well, man. Because Mahomes' wife is one end, she's the other end, and they're BFFs. So it just feels like there's just so much stuff happening in KC that it will be hard to just ignore it for Holmes and the rest of them, because there's just always, they're gonna be in the news headlines for the wrong reasons. I feel like off the court, even though the play will not be affected, it shouldn't be affected, but it usually will be, because of everything happening around them. So that is interesting. Cool. So that's NFL. We are 1 week away. College football starts this weekend, right? That'd be just fun to see in football in general. Be kind of fun to see.
LSU and USC in Vegas on Sunday.
Ooh, that'd be good. Who's USC's new QB?
He's supposed to be good. He backed up Caleb last year. He played in the one of the bowl games. I forgot his name, but he's pretty good though, man.
I feel bad because of Caleb Williams. It's hard to follow a talent like Caleb Williams.
So. I don't know how you do it, to be honest with you. I mean,
be tough. All right, so let's get into some NBA. First and foremost, we have a controversial topic we'll talk about, but before that, we just had the yesterday's signing, which is Steph signing a 1-year deal for $62.6 million to come back to the Warriors. My initial thought with this is kind of like the Kobe deal, which is a thank you, Steph, for everything you've done for us deal. I think this is a awesome job. You're a legend. You will all be a Warrior. You had a great career here. This is all the money we owe you because you were so good to us, and we'll get you 1 more year, and then after that, thank you again, and you can probably be traded out. What do you think?
All right,
They did the same thing with Kobe, right? They gave him like a $40 million contract, which was the highest at the time, and I remember everyone was like, "Why?" And then that was pretty much a thank you Kobe Bryant contract.
All right, so this is my hot take.
Okay.
Ready for this?
Oh, God.
All right. Okay, so he signed only a 1-year deal, not a 1-and-1 like LeBron does, right? Why? Okay, if you're Steph Curry, why do a 1-year deal? Why not do a 1-and-1? Have an option year, you know? Why do only one? Why even Steph, who's like 35, I think, right? Why sign even? Why at that age? Why even signed a 1-year deal, right? Wouldn't you want more like a LeBron or like AD took that long contract? You know, wouldn't you want a bigger contract, right? So the writing is on the wall, right? This is I agree with you. It's a thank you. Mm-hmm. And the second thing is, I do feel this whole year, two things going to happen. We talked about it last week. Steph's going to see how the team does in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then second, I think he has probably informed the management where he wants to go.
God, right? Don't see the Lakers. I am a biggest Lakers fan, but God, Lakers fans are so delusional. Okay, go ahead. Why to the Lakers? Why does he want to come here?
We saved all our draft picks after 80. We haven't traded anybody for our draft picks besides that D'Angelo trade where we gave to Utah, right? With we traded Westbrook away. We have a lot of draft picks coming in right now. We have I think we can trade up to 3 draft picks and then we can do at least 3 to 4 swaps, right? Mm-hmm. And and I do think that our young players Austin Reeves, our rookie this year, Connect, those are good players we have, right? Mm-hmm. And I think Warriors will go in a full rebuild. But I think the one thing what Warriors are gonna do is they want to do a hard reset. So they're gonna dangle if they're gonna be like, if you want Steph from us, you gotta take Draymond with him because Draymond still has 2 more years left after this year. This year, 2 more years left, so 3 years in total. He has 3 years of $75 million left, right? And Steph has a 1 year with 62, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously they want to get off that Draymond's contract as well. So terrible signing. I mean, Steph still plays well. He still has a few more years. Still, depending in what situation are you saying he'll be terrible? If you put him along with AD and LeBron, he won't be terrible. That's kind of like Dennis Rodman didn't play well, but in Chicago he played well, right? It was against Scottie and Michael's supervision, right? So Draymond's more like he's under LeBron's and AD's supervision, right? He's the one who's going to be getting those rebounds and being just rebounder, right? Not caring about scoring, right? So I do feel that Golden State will do right by trading him to a team that he wants to go to. I'm talking about Steph, not Draymond. Steph. But I do feel that
coming too. He loves LeBron too. So
that's the thing. So I do think Lakers have enough draft picks and swaps. Mm-hmm. Maybe not players like young players like people will want. Maybe Austin Reeves is good. Connect is really good, but we might not have a desirable Brandon Ingram like we did for AD. Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart. We might not have that type of young, Yeah, but so I do feel Lakers have a deal, players and draft picks to make that deal. It's gonna see if Golden State wants it or not. So, but I do agree that it's a thank you like Lakers did to Kobe. But I do feel that Steph will be gone from Warriors.
Yeah. I think that, like you said, I think Steph, this is also his way of saying thank you so much again. But I am looking to move out. And he does want to play Lakers. I'm sure he does because he loved playing with LeBron during the Olympics. As far as would he be helpful to the Lakers? Yes, for sure, 100%. And he would be a perfect teammate to LeBron because that's what you need. However, I don't like the idea of getting Draymond in this because I have not been a Draymond fan for a very long time. I think he's very much a system player. If you took him away and put him in Orlando Magic, he will not be the same Draymond Green that he is now. He wouldn't be worth the contract that he was given in the Orlando Magic team, right? For example. No. So I think he's a very good system player. But outside of the Warriors, he's not going to be helpful to him. So we'll just be stuck with another crappy contract, which the Lakers are traditionally always bound to have for some reason. We have freaking Luol Deng, which I think we're still paying until this year, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And some other guy. I remember that same year we got in. I remember you were like, "No, this is great for us." I think I'm like, "This is the
Cam
worst thing
Reddish.
ever
Cam
since."
Reddish.
Yeah, I can't remember Cam Reddish. Oh my god, Mr. Defensive Player of the Year. Let's not get into that. But
I never said that. I never said that.
You
Get the heck out of here.
You were like, LeBron is going to turn him into a defender. Watch, he's going to be
But
so
dude,
good.
LeBron has
knockdown
turned
3-point shooter, Mr. 20% Mr. Triple Single out here with more turnovers and steals. I don't know what he was helping with his defense, but Cam Reddish was a really bad signing, and I mean, I said it before the season started. I'm like, if you're a bad player in a bad team, you will not be a good player in a good team. That's not possible. No matter if you give me LeBron James or Bill Belichick or Tom Brady of the freaking NBA, you're not going to become a better player all of a sudden. And he was not. He had maybe 10 game stretch where I remember you were texting me like, "Yo, did you see he won the game winner?" And then all of a sudden the next 20 game, he's just like MIA and doesn't know how to play basketball anymore.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I think Steph is probably on his way out, which would be interesting to see. I don't know if we really have much, because the Warriors are also a very smart franchise. That if they will select whether or not the deal they're getting back for someone like Steph Curry is worth it for them. And I don't know if Austin Reeves, Hachimura, our rookies, all that stuff. I don't know if that's the play, or if are they just looking for our picks, and is that all they're going for?
If you would have told me back then, like for example, like when KG, Paul Pierce, and I forgot another player that got traded to Brooklyn back in middle 2000s, or actually late 2000s, sorry, but to Brooklyn, right? When Brooklyn, wanted to do a big splash, right? And the thing was, Boston received not, KG was still good enough player. Paul Pierce was still good enough player. They're like Steph's age,
on the
around
tail
35.
end of the prime, yeah.
but the players they got in return were nothing compared to that, right? Yeah. But what they did get was the draft picks, and you know what kind of draft picks they got? It wasn't draft picks that was gonna have it was gonna be right away. It was more of a draft picks saying that give us your draft picks, but we want those draft picks 6 years from now, right? And no one like, I mean, actually for everyone was like, wait, they only got draft picks and they got this type of players, but nothing crazy. But what ended up happening is that those players, turned into Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, right? It turned into a championship team. If like you said, Golden State is a smart organization. They're not just gonna give Steph away. Right. But if they know that they can get Lakers, 2031, 33, and 35th pick, you're talking about like 10 years from now, 6 years from now, 8 years from now, LeBron's gone. AD is definitely on his way gone, because AD is entering his prime right now. AD is like 30, I think, or something, so, or 29 or 30. So AD will be gone in 5 years. He's not going to be the same AD anymore, right? And definitely Steph Curry. Yeah. And definitely Steph is gone, right? So if you're talking, if Golden State can get their hands on those like 2031 draft pick, 33 or 35, Lakers will be essentially a lottery team, because you don't know what's going to happen with the Lakers, right? Because you got to remember back, from 2012 till 18, before LeBron took that chance, no free agents wanted to even come to the Lakers. Remember, we had the debacle with LaMarcus Aldridge, he hated the presentation. No free agents want to touch the Lakers, right? So they can have it again, like no free agents.
Still don't.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron took a chance, and then we transferred AD.
I mean, like now, like Klay Thompson didn't want to come to the Lakers. He chose a lesser contract to go to.
So think about it. If Golden State can get a lottery pick from the Lakers back then,
if they can do it without us having to have that ridiculous contract that Draymond Green has, by all means, I rather just say, you know what, like, you guys keep Draymond, we don't want him, and I know the balance has to even out and all that stuff, but I'll be like, you guys can just keep Draymond for free. We don't put him near us, and then just give us Steph. We'll take it.
But it'll be hard for any team to even trade for both players, man. If you're looking at it, like, Steph is okay. If you would have hypothetically trade Steph next year, right, which he makes $62 million, and Draymond makes $25,
$80 million.
$80 million. How are you gonna come up with $80 million? You got to come up with, I want to say, 90% of the salary.
Yeah.
or at least 80% of the salary. How do you gonna match? You gotta basically trade every single player from your roster, basically.
Yeah.
You know, so
Jeez.
I don't know. I do feel like it's gonna be hard for any team to acquire both, but in the end, I do feel that Steph, this is a send off, basically. So it'll be like, thank you for your service, and
exactly.
Here's a gift.
Here's a gift. Thank you. You know, like you made this franchise worth billions of dollars when it was hundreds of millions of dollars, and you know,
100%.
That's great. So, all right. So the controversy for this year in NBA was something that Anthony Edwards said, which is he said, and in was it a podcast? I believe it was. He said, talking about how back then there were no good skilled player besides Jordan. Here's exactly what he said. He said, they said it was tougher back then than it is now, but I don't think that anybody had skill back then. Michael Jordan was the only one that really had any skill, if you know what I mean. So that's why when they saw Kobe Bryant, they're like, oh my God, but now everybody has skills. So he's pretty much saying that the whole JJ Redick thing about, like, you know, Bill, what's his name? Will Chamberlain was playing against plumbers and toolman, whatever it was. I'm just saying that back then nobody had skill, and now people have much more. They're much more talented. So the old school players may not do so well. And of course, Magic Johnson had a very, very fiery, which is not like him. Usually he's very like
never does
he
that.
puts his $1 million smile. I was like, oh, I know this is fun. He's like, I won't talk to anybody that didn't have a championship. And he's like, I don't think he had a college championship. I don't think he had a high school championship. Why would I talk to him? Which is like,
you went deep, man.
Right.
Like, wow.
So, what are your thoughts on that? I know that's something that you wanted to get into, because this is again back to the whole old school versus new school kind of thing.
Okay, so I always be on the fence, right, with when Michael Jordan played, right? So the only thing, like I said, I agree to disagree with, you know, Anthony Edwards' comment, right? Meaning I agree, but I still disagree. So what I'm trying to say is that if Edwards would have just said that when all he had to say was when Jordan was in his prime, the word was prime. That's all he had to say. Not say Jordan had no competition. If he would have just said that when Jordan was in his prime, there was no competition. Because 100%. When Jordan came into the league in '84, the league was good. You had Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson, your boy Larry Bird, right? Bad Boy Piston was still there. That league was hard to play in, right? I always said to even you or anybody that I talked to, right, that Jordan did not have competition. The best,
just like how LeBron didn't have competition when he was playing in the East. Yeah, for sure.
So when Jordan entered his prime, right, and he entered his prime in early '90s. When he entered his prime in early '90s, right, that's when Magic was basically done. It's like a Steph Curry, like 35, you know, getting, you know, Larry Bird, same thing. Isaiah Thomas, same thing. They're on their way out, right? So obviously they're not athletic. They're not playing the same way they did in the '80s, right? And same thing with Dr. J. He was basically on his way out, and so that's why I say I agree with Edwards when he said that, but I disagree in the fact that if he just would have because back then was still tough. I mean, it was still competitive. You had guys who can actually defend, who played real defense. There's no touch here. They're gonna actually hit you, put you to the ground, and that was. Maybe call a foul, maybe not call a foul. Here, if you put a guy on the floor, it's a technical automatically. So, all I'm saying is that Jordan, during his prime, did not have competition. Back then, when Jordan entered his prime, that was like, I think it was like big men, like Patrick Ewing, Hakeem, Shaquille. Like those guys
Drexler
were basically
was probably the closest, like, but
he wasn't that. He wasn't good. He wasn't.
Yeah.
And like the second best wing player. It was on Jordan's team. Named Scottie Pippen. So there was no competition. You had Karl Malone. You had, you know, those kind of big guys, you know, playing. So that's why I agree with Anthony Edwards that Kobe had more competition. Kobe went through Jordan. Kobe went through LeBron's, Wade's, Carmelo's, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce. I hate using Paul Pierce's name, but Paul Pierce was good in 3-4 years. You know, he actually played well, whatnot. You know,
that guy.
But he had competition to go up against, right? That's where I agree with Anthony Edwards that there was no competition back then for Jordan. But but when he didn't use the word prime Jordan, that's when he insulted the whole entire Larry Bird's team, Magic's team. Isaiah Thomas' team, Dr. J's team. Because those teams in the '80s were reckoned with, man. What do you think?
I agree with you there. I think he Anthony Edwards kind of solved his own problem. What I mean by that is what he's saying was there was no competition when Jordan was playing, right? And yeah, you're right. He should have said prime because yeah, when Jordan was in his prime, there was nobody better because Jordan was just that much better, right? So like it's one thing to be like, having a similar class where someone's close to you versus just being way up here and everyone's like right here getting by, right? So Anthony Edwards is like the closest thing we have right now to Jordan, right? Would you agree? Closest thing in terms of competitor and instead of play style,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Closest thing, right? I'm not saying he's going to be as dominant as Jordan was, but close enough.
Yeah.
If you put Anthony Edwards in, which is essentially we're saying a young Michael Jordan,
no, he'll destroy.
When he first came in, he got his butt whooped by Magic, by Larry. He got his butt whooped by the Pistons, right?
Bad boys. Yeah.
The bad boys. So like he kind of actually solved his own argument because he can use himself and say, if I'm a younger Michael Jordan, which I think he thinks he is, and then he looked at okay, when younger Michael Jordan came in, young Michael Jordan did lead the league in scoring at the time, but he went to the playoffs and got his butt kicked. Yeah, swept one time, I believe it was, right? So like you kind of use yourself as an example and saying, if that was me and I'm young Michael Jordan, then that's not I don't think he really understood what he's trying to say, or maybe he should have prefaced it by saying prime, because yes, after Larry Bird and everyone had gone, there was no competition whatsoever. But a young Michael Jordan could not compete against the prime Magic Johnson.
He didn't even win one championship.
Exactly,
in the 80s.
But he was a leading scorer. Like he did do well. It's not like he was a rookie kid averaging 13 points a game. He was leading the league in scoring, but he still was no competition for a prime, Pistons, Lakers, and the Boston Celtics. So I don't know where he came up with that. I think again, you just kind of put yourself as a target, because I think a lot of journalists are also very much like old heads were better, and so when it comes to considerations for MVP, all these things, you kind of hurt yourself because you shouldn't have a take like that. Because I mean, JJ Redick got a lot of heat for that. He's probably gonna find out the real way how it is nowadays. But anyways, I think he really shot himself in the foot with that.
He should have came back and clarified what he meant, because like you said, man, Magic doesn't really speak bad of anyone, man. Even if even when people mess up, he doesn't really speak bad. And he went off, he went out of his way to say that he hasn't even won a championship in the NBA. Forget NBA, not even college, not in college, high school, and that goes pretty.
And when do you ever hear Magic bring up championship? He's not the most like a Shaq, right? Shaq loves to brag about his championships against Charles Barkley, right? But like Magic never does that. So you can tell it really pissed him off to hear that, because it's like yo, if we're gonna talk about this, let's talk about championships. Like how many have you won?
He's the greatest point guard of all time is Magic Johnson. Like, I mean, forget LeBron, forget anybody. Magic is a guy who came up with a no-look pass, triple doubles with Oscar Robinson, triple doubles. They're like dude, that was a good game back then,
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I think what Magic took is so offensively is that NBA was like in their downhill at that time in the early 80s and late 80s. And Magic and Bird are the reason where NBA is right now.
Yes.
And so you cannot say there was no competition, man, because Magic was the same guy who a rookie year started at all 5 positions, won the NBA Finals, and who has done that? No one has done that even yet. The rookie year, play all 5 positions and win the NBA championship. So you cannot discredit that, and that's why I think Magic took it so offensively and said that. What are you talking about? The 80s was the hardest era, and I still feel the 80s was the hardest era to play, because think about the Kurt Rambis foul, man. When they fouled him, that was just a regular foul.
Yeah. Or even just seeing Michael Jordan go up against the Pistons, where he had 3 people smack him in the face,
and slammed him.
Just get up. All right, hey, personal foul, get up.
Just slammed him on the floor, and that was just a regular foul.
Yeah.
Imagine NBA right now. If that would have happened, if Kurt Rambis thing happened, if people would get on the floor, that's the minimum 2-game suspension right there.
There'll be a police activity. Someone would be arrested that night.
Ejection, and 2-game suspension right there, man.
For sure.
So
Draymond goes out and choke somebody. I mean, literally, that's 5 games, what it was. But I agree with you.
It was like 10, 12 games.
Yeah. So I mean, the NBA needed that during that time. They needed the rivalry, right? They needed that toughness, which it did, and it brought a lot of seats. Then you have once in a lifetime kind of player in Jordan come out of nowhere. Then you got the dominance of Shaq and Kobe. Then you got LeBron.
Yeah.
Like it's just a flourishing
Duncan.
kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And what I do worry about the NBA is after LeBron's gone, after Steph's gone, after like then it's gonna be like, now what? Who's gonna be the next like
I don't know,
this
man.
generational talent? I think Giannis is slowly already depreciating. I mean, he's one of my favorite players right now, but he's good, but he's not gonna get any better. I think his ceiling, he's kind of getting there
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
gonna become a better shooter for sure. He'll definitely be a double guy and all that kind of stuff. I think he'll be good, but he's not. I think his ceiling's right there, right? I don't see anybody after post LeBron and Steph and them. I don't know who's gonna be taking over the league. Luka, maybe, yeah.
But
Luka's,
Luka,
but he's
cares
not
more.
like
Luka and Jokic cares more about the country than he cares about the NBA. To be honest.
right, yeah. I mean, Jokic, you cannot depend on Jokic to promote your league. That's it. I mean, it's like Kawhi and Clippers. The Clippers cannot beg Kawhi enough to promote the Clippers, and he could care less about it. The same with Jokic,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I think Luka's probably the only one. I don't think Anthony Edwards can be the face of the league. I know the media put him as in a pedestal when they won last year in a couple playoff series, but like I don't think he's the face of the league yet. I think that's also another concerning thing for the NBA is now what? Because you had this progression, Magic, Bird, that rivalry, Shaq. I mean Michael Jordan, Shaq, Kobe, LeBron. Yeah. Now what? Right?
I agree with you, man. I ask myself all the time after LeBron and Steph Curry leaves.
Yeah.
Who is that? Even Durant is downhill too.
Durant's
he has like 3 more years left. 3 years, maybe 4.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm hoping that this season of basketball kind of shows us. Maybe somebody stands out. Maybe someone really dominates. But
they're trying to give Edwards that,
they're really pushing for it. They really want to. I mean, there was a whole controversy: is he really Michael Jordan's son? Blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh!
And they're just force feeding it. But I don't see him being the face of the league. Honestly, I think he's very very confident. But I think he may just turn into a kind of a one-dimensional player eventually because his defense is good, but it's not like a lockdown defender like the great.
He hasn't taken that factor where he's very dominating. You gotta be dominant,
Yes, yeah.
You gotta be like a guy just gonna go out and flat out score like 25 and win you a game no matter what, in what situation. So, yeah. But at the same time, I think they're putting they're hoping that Cooper Flag from next year is going to be turning out to be that guy. He's ranked number 1 everywhere.
You think Wemby? Potentially.
What I think Wemby, Cooper Flag, I think those are maybe the next franchise. I mean, I don't know how Cooper Flag did good against Team USA in practice,
Mm-hmm.
and like he stood out. He played against all the Team USA players, and he stood out really well. So he's gonna play for Duke. So he's gonna be entering the NBA draft next year. So that's gonna be really critical moment to watch how he does in the NBA too. So
yeah,
but I do agree that Wemby, man, he proved me wrong. I thought he was not going to be ready for the NBA with his physicality, man, but he's been taking it well enough where he can actually score, rebound, and assist. Yeah. But now the next thing that he has to watch out for is injuries, right?
I think having Chris Paul there will help him out too.
Yeah, if he can stay healthy, because Porzingis was on that way too, where Wemby is going. By the way, Porzingis, man, he was playing well. The first 2 years.
Yeah, but he didn't have
Wemby. He wasn't Wemby where Wemby's like Wemby. Yeah, exactly. But Porzingis had that, but he got injured, and gosh,
So we'll see. I mean, you must have. I remember your interaction with Wemby when you saw him, right? You almost had a Britney Spears moment with him.
Oh my gosh! Seriously, man, I'll Waldrop in Vegas. That'll be a conversation for another day when we talk about.
We gotta get into story time for sure. But great week this week so far. I cannot wait for college football. Sorry, I'm not the biggest college football viewer, but I just love watching football. So I'm definitely gonna be tuning into all the games this week because I just miss it so much. We got NBA coming up in a few weeks. We got football in 2 weeks. Next weekend. So be fun to see that. We'll see where our predictions land us, but we will definitely have a lot more for you guys next week. A lot of new development. I'm sure there'll be some controversy happening too. I cannot wait to get into that. So
and we will talk about early predictions for the NFL, heavy NFL next week, and we'll talk about some college upsets. That's gonna happen this week.
For sure. We'll get into.
We'll talk about that. Yes,
should be fun. We will see you guys next week. Bamboo is out.
Let's do it. Take care, man.
Bye, man.